Hello everyone, welcome to your full moon reading in Sagittarius during the flower moon. This is a dimensional tarot spread. If you're unfamiliar with this form of tarot, please check out the description box below. It contains all the information you could need. And I'm going to go ahead and jump right into your reading. For your spirit animal totem, you have Raven, Shaman. You are the creator and magician. Use your gifts for good. There is power in your wisdom and words. Connect with the elemental spirit and glide through the void. Claim your place as the keeper of the mysteries. For your chakra energy, you had two come out. I'm going to go, before we even begin this reading, your chakra energies came out. You have a very powerful energy right now. You have the throat chakra and the crown chakra. Both are light. In these cards, you can get like messages like responsibility or, love or compassion. These are representative of the actual chakras themselves. You have the shaman. So there is something that you need to speak to that is perhaps maybe even spiritual in nature, mystical in nature. We also have an underlying moon message of patience. This could take time. Especially if you've experienced a type of awakening. For some of you, this could be a spiritual awakening. It just feels like a massive amount of energy. For whatever you've been dealing with. Parts of these cards I have shuffled before. Other parts come out closer to the reading. So your overall moon energy is just containing a massive amount of power. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the tarot message. We have the Five of Pentacles in reverse at your peacemaker. So this is fearing of loss, but you have been healing it. We have your intuition and the Tower. So some type of crisis, maybe even a spiritual crisis. It feels like almost like, how could I let this happen? How could I not listen to my inner voice? We have the Helper here with the Queen of Swords in the reverse. Your Achiever has the Nine of Swords in reverse, so this is like a relinquishing of something, a mental anxiety here. You have the Two of Pentacles, adapting to change at your individualist, possibly your sense of self is adapting to this circumstance. With the Ace of Pentacles, your mental state, you can feel renewed, you're manifesting, and your Enthusiast has the Devil. I'm going to go ahead and clarify your Challenger here. We also have the Emperor and the Broken Heart. Oh, the Three of Swords. The Challenger stands as an Emperor with a broken heart. Looking and see how he's pointing here, looking over here at the Queen of Swords, the Helper, expressing the Queen of Swords under there. Could be a you could have possibly, there could have been harsh words spoken, something that had been burdening you for a while. For the Achiever, you can pretend like you're doing better than you are, but you're putting on a false front. It's not intentional. You don't mean to do these things. But it appears as if it's become habitual. It appears as if you know this about yourself and you're trying to manifest past it. But there's a deep insecurity here, a deep fear. that something has occurred where you can no longer ignore it. Maybe you're at a point where you can no longer not listen to your inner voice. And maybe this is having you change and communicate in ways that can be brash, especially for experiencing a spiritual awakening. It can be just a very confusing emotionally time because your sense of self is completely readjusting, readapting here it's almost like a new reality. I'm going to go ahead and clarify this fear of loss that's abating for your peacemaker. Your peacemaker had the Page of Swords, the Page of Wands, and healing at the Star. So it seems like you've stepped into a passion here. Perhaps something inspired you, renewed your faith. We have your Nine of Swords abating here. This is mental anguish, mental pain, and perhaps something has occurred here that's brought you balance. We do have the King of Cups. He represents emotional balance, emotional power. We have the Knight of Pentacles, slow-moving, methodical knight. So there appears, there's the Page of Swords and the Page of Wands coming together, healing as you overcome this fear of loss. You're stepping forward now, emotionally balanced, maybe ready to, if there is conflict, there's something here that maybe you are fearful of a conflict of, or maybe you once were fearful of a conflict. I think now that you could be ready to defend what you know to be true. You're manifesting here at your Loyalist, and the Loyalist is clarified by the Ten of Pentacles, absolute abundance. The Ten of Pentacles is like just abundant, not bonkers, but like just comfort, stability, balance. It can also represent your legacy, your inheritances, things you've learned, family values, and you're manifesting from the Loyalist. So something you are firmly convicted of believing, because you also have Judgment and Temperance. Something that's brought you balance and like integrity is a message I'm feeling here. Maybe this sense of integrity is what's beguiling you and making you feel like you're a bad person. Because maybe there could have been a defensiveness in communication that prevented a connection. There also was this intuition within you, something you need to express. It's a very deep-seated fear. The challenger is often depicted as someone who picked up a suit of armor early. They're heartbroken young, growing up too quickly. A defensiveness that maybe you've never let down here. And maybe it could feel, from the longest time, you didn't know who you were, because who you were had to be flexible to the circumstances around you. So in a way, it's like you could have been fundamentally detached with who you were, in essence, because you adapted yourself to circumstances to survive, to get through. For some of you, this could have occurred so early that it feels hard to even know yourself. And sometimes when you've repressed your fundamental self, and then it comes screaming out later in ways like It's like your true self is coming to the floor. And there could be parts of you that are repressing some desires on your part because you're fearful of losing. You were fearful of losing those around you. But I think you come to an understanding that this defensiveness is not serving you either. But how do you overcome this insecurity to express this when you carry such a, for some of you, you could be a little jaded. And again, it's not intentional. I think it's just part of this healing and balancing work that you need to do. Perhaps you're still in the midst of this, and especially if this appears to be some type of spiritual transformation, that can be an especially confusing time. Perhaps the enthusiast is scared that you're not going fast enough. Maybe your old habits will catch up with you, and you'll just end up repeating the same pattern. And there could be like a crisis of consciousness going on here with your reformer. But don't get caught in coulda, shoulda, woulda. And blaming yourself for circumstances that are realistically beyond most of everyone's control. Often we are just subjects to the machinery of life, it can feel. And it can feel hollowing. And confusing and scary when you feel like you have no autonomy. Because you're just held to the whim of your fears dictating your actions. It could be that some of you are really tender right now. Like, you're like a little baby bird. You're like a little hatchling. The little shaman. There could be some of you who have a wounded warrior, wounded healer archetype. You've been through painful experiences, so you really empathetically really understand these things. And you can use your painful experiences to make insights for others who also have, been through these experiences. You heal others by healing yourself. Through this act, it feels as if some of you could be going through a dark night of the soul here during this, and through this, and that this is bringing light to you, as you come to understand your own strength, your own power, your own self again. It's like you've wrestled a sense of yourself back. All right. I'm going to check out the bottom of our deck. And you do have the sun. This represents kind of just the light of happiness. Happiness itself. It is the most joyous card in the tarot deck. As an unconscious moon energy during this time, you have discernment. This is seeing through to decisions and clearing the clouds that prevent your sight. There's also the message of crown chakra energy with intelligence. There is something that you're being guided to, your inner knowing, your shaman. I think for some of you, you're just a little hatchling. I'm sorry. It sounds so weird, but you're deeply insecure. You're just deeply tender right now. And finally, we have dragon as an unconscious spirit totem. Supernatural, you are an ancient wise sage. You can shapeshift at will. Mastery is your destiny, and to rise with dignity. You are a dragon. Well, right now you're kind of like this. Honestly, they're hideous. Have you seen a young hatchling raven? Baby birds are not, other than maybe ducks. Ducks are adorable. Quails are adorable. But other than that, like, most baby birds are terrible looking. So you're a hideous little hatchling right now. And it is going to take some patience and time, but maybe we can get you to be an graceful, intuitive swan. But there's some fears and some defensiveness in your nature that's preventing you from your happiness. And you need to maybe wrestle with this inner conflict and bring temperance to it. And then we can get you to that swan state. It's just going to take some patience and time. Some grounding. And some expression. Because maybe there's connections you need to make, you're being called to make during this time, and maybe they can help you along this journey, especially for those of you who felt isolated and alone during this time. All right, this has been your overall message. I'm going to go ahead and start going into your extended. I'm just going to stack these over here for your extended. In the extended, I will be doing some clarifying with the Lenormand and the mini tarot deck, and I'll also be clarifying the rest of the points that you see here. And lastly, I will be clarifying your chakra energy with the Work Your Light Oracle. All right, thank you for joining me. If I'm able to see you in the extended, then I can't wait to see you there in just a minute. If you're not able to join us, then thank you for joining me today, and I can't wait to see you in the next reading.